Let's talk the IEM hobby and some possible upgrades. The purpose of this video is twofold. The first of all, talk about some general upgrade paths, and after that we're going to talk about a little bit how to read graphs and how to figure some things out. So let's get into it. The first IEM that I'm going to talk to you is in the $40 range. This is the SIMGOT EW200. This is a fantastic little set that sounds good, looks good, feels good in the ear, and is a sonic miracle for the price. Even if you own more expensive sets, you will still find yourself wanting to listen to the SIMGOT EW200 because it's such a marvel that anything this cheap can sound this good. Now we're going to go up the ladder to the $80 recommendation. This is the Truth-Ear Hexa. The Truth-Ear Hexa has some faults. It is a little bit more lean than I might like, but one of the things that it has is it has that magic treble. It sounds really fantastic for its price and has a really good technicalities. Everything really sparkles and is really magical and natural about it. Again, it's one of those IEMs I think that for the price, it is just an overall sonic win and a lot of fun. The next IEM, as we move slightly up the price point, is the SIMGOT EA500LM. Now I could talk about some other IEMs like maybe the NISAC F1 Pro, or you could even think about getting a planar. There's some other planars out there that are really coming to a really nice price. They have a lot of good technicalities and overall a really nice tonal balance. But the SIMGOT EA500LM is just a fantastic set. It is one of the better sounding IEMs and I think is a sonic value. It's something that I can easily recommend you guys, and it's something that if you have not yet listened to it and you're in the market for around $100 set, it's really hard to deny that because it has such nice bass, it does have a little bit rich treble, but I think it could work for you, and I really like the sound of it, and I think it's a phenomenal set and it's an easy recommend. As we move up in the price category, there are a lot of recommends to look at. There's some of the planars that I could recommend. There's even a lot of benchmarks at 200, like the Kiwi Ears Quintet, like the Awful Performer 5 that I enjoy both of those sets and own both of them. But one of my favorite $200 benchmarks is the Giz Audio Chopin. It has really nice bass, but beyond that, it has really nice treble extension and things sound really natural and vocals sound amazing on it. For me, the Giz Audio Chopin is just really good set, and that's going to be my next recommendation to you guys. Another product that I haven't really talked about in this channel, but I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about is the Apple AirPods Pro 2. This is a fantastic TWS sight, and some people who even have Android phones use this. I really like it as a Android and Apple user. I think this is a really good set of earphones. I think it's something to use, definitely something to consider before you go too far off the deep end. Get one or two wired IEMs. Get some Apple AirPods Pro. Think about what you like. Mess around with EQ, and then from there, you gotta kind of think about some things. So, you're still listening. You've decided you want something better. Where do you go from here? Now, this is where the hobby gets to be even more subjective and even harder to figure things out. Some people think the differences between a $200 set and a much more expensive multi-$1,000 set is 50%. It's not. I would say sometimes it's maybe 5%, maybe 2%. Your personal tastes are going to come in to be a huge factor here. So my first recommendation is going to be go to a show, meet some people. But if you don't have that opportunity, a few other ones that I would recommend are this one, the Awful Performer 8. It has really balanced treble, really good mids. I think it has a really good musical tune to it, and it's something that I've just found to be something that I just really enjoy listening to. I find it effortless, easy, and smooth, and I think that's important. I really like this set despite it being kind of expensive. Are there other sets I enjoy? Of course. Let's talk about a few of them. Now, the next IEM I'm going to recommend is a lot more expensive. It's around $550 depending. It is the Moondrop Variations. This is a fantastic bassy set with a lot of really good technicalities. It's tuned very well, it has good drivers, it's a standard that most people enjoy. It's something that I can easily recommend, but again, this is pretty much as I would ever recommend to anybody to blind buy. I have listened to some expensive IEMs, and there are some that I'll recommend, and there's a few that I wanted to show you. The first one here is the 64 Audio Velour, and it does something pretty amazing. It has fantastic bass and is really good. The next one is my personal favorite, the Elysian Annihilator 2023 edition. It has some of the best treble I have ever heard, if not the best treble, and it makes me hate almost every single IEM that I have ever heard. It is fantastic, but there are certain things that other IEMs do for me that I like or I enjoy more. So even though I own some really interesting sets and have a few of these on loan, I do find myself listening to other sets as well. And I think it's nice to have a collection. Certain IEMs bring certain moods and they feel differently in your ear. I think everyone should maybe own 3 or 4 IEMs to give themselves a little bit of sound characteristic, and there's nothing wrong with owning that many. And I think a lot of people own upwards of 200 or 300, sometimes even more than that. And it's also okay just to own one IEM, and I think that's important. You have to know what kind of collector you are, and that's okay. You're still an audiophile. You're still a lover of headphones and music. So the purpose of this video is to kind of show you guys how to look at some graphs and how to really think about things. What I really like using is a target. Now I have my own target, but before I had my own target, what I would do is I would look at certain reviewers, find out which ones I liked. One of the reviewers I like, at least in the regards that I enjoy their preference curve, is Bad Guy Good Audio. And you'll notice it's very similar to mine. There's a lot of similarities to it, and it's a strong target overall. So what you can do is you can look at other people's graphs and look and see how things sound. So like, let's say you want to look at mine, but I don't have that much graph. Let's look at some other people's graphs. Let's go ahead and look at Hawaii Bad Boys or even Mark from Super Review. All right, so here's Super Review, and we already have Bad Guy's target already loaded. And what you can do is kind of look at some of these IEMs. Right now he has the SimGot EA1000 loaded, and we can look at some other IEMs. And they can use that to kind of compare. Like here's the SimGot EM6L, which is half the price. For a similar target curve, that's pretty good. And you can even keep going down and looking at more of these to see what else you might like maybe the Symphonium Audio Helios. Again, different target curve, different everything about it. But when you understand how to read graphs, you might be able to find some IEMs that are a little bit older. Oh, not that one. What about the Legacy 4? The Legacy 4 doesn't look too bad. I mean, it has a pretty nice curve. It's overall okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, here's a $1,000 IEM, another $1,000 IEM. A lot of the graphs are going to seem very similar or almost identical. And so if you're gonna be starting out and you're not sure what you can do, is you can look at some cheaper graphs. Like here's a $50 graph that doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible. It looks kind of U-shaped. And you can just keep you can keep looking at these graphs and kind of see what you think based on all of these graphs, and you can get a good idea of what something might sound like. You can find graphs and just kind of look at them. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Paul Wasabi's. And you can look at, put Bad Guy's target in there. And you can look at what other graphs he has in here. Like he has a bunch of HBB collabs. You can look at that one right there. I mean, that's a $30 graph, $30 IEM. It's a pretty good deal. The KZPR2, I mean, you can tell that it has a lot more treble here, up around the 2K spike. And it does have a little bit interesting things going on. Here's another one, the KZX HEB Hades. This has a lot of bass, and another trick you can do is you can normalize these. So let's go and normalize this at, say, 1200. And this is kind of gives you a better idea of what this graph really is looking like versus the Blonde HEB Z300. So for me and for my ears, I think I would much rather prefer the Z300 because it's only $30. And while I do like a lot of bass, I don't know if I find myself liking that much bass. And so, again, one of the things I do like about using SquidLink is that there are certain people's targets, and you can look at other people's graphs to kind of see where things are at and what things look like. And that way you can have a little bit more uniformity across all of Squid.link. Is this the only way to graph? No, but this is just a few tips that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, the next thing I wanted to share with you guys is my ranking list. Now, ranking lists are a great way to figure out the hobby. Now, a lot of the big reviewers have ranking lists. Some of them have updated them in a few months. Some of them haven't upgraded theirs in years. And so it's kind of hard, you know, and I am just a hobbyist. I'm just like all of you guys. I've never made a dime off of YouTube, and the current plan is to not make money on YouTube and just have fun in the hobby and enjoy my time. And so being just a hobbyist, you know, I can pretty much say whatever I want. And this is my personal opinion on a lot of IEMs that I've either owned currently or I've owned in the past, and that I have experienced and had in my house for at least a week. And it's kind of my general rule of thumb. I'm going to quickly show you guys my ranking list, talk about it, and this is more for the few people that are still here with me. If you've already seen it, you probably already know, but I try to update my ranking list every time I add something to it. You'll notice I have 117 IEMs with a few more that are going to be added very soon. My current favorite is the Annihilator. It has really good sonic characteristics, and I try to note how everything sounds and how everything is. And so this is what I have, and I want you to note that this is more of like a Metacritic rating right here, the out of 100, and it's kind of including preference and including value. Well, my raw audio score is basically how I feel it is as an audio product and how it sounds, and that's kind of my view on it. The market is so hard to figure out what's worth it, and you know, what's worth it to you is very different, and a lot of this is based off of what I hear in my ear, and sometimes my ear canal might be a little bit different than other people's, and they might have different tastes. I try to have pretty balanced tastes because of my library is pretty balanced, but you know, some people are different. So let's look at a few things. You'll notice that beyond that, you know, I've tried to give you a quick little hot take about how I feel about things. You have a gaming score. This here gives you an idea of how things are for gaming. And I don't really think it's that important to really focus too much on gaming. I think really for most games, it's just what you like. Like a lot of professional gamers will use KZ IEMs or the Truth or Critical Reds, which are, you know, around $50. I think once you get to a reasonable set that you like that has a pretty nice little curve, again, just kind of match it up to it Hawaii Bad Boys or my curve looks like, you can kind of tell how it might sound. Give it a whirl, try it for a few days, maybe return it, or if you can borrow it from a friend, do that too. In the next column, you'll notice we have kind of recommendations, and we have the recommendations of whether it's recommended for someone spending, you know, $50. The next one is for $200. After the $200 range, we have the middle price collectors, which is kind of what I fall into. Like, you know, maybe you spend $200 to $300 on audio gear a month, maybe more, maybe less. And then you have your hyper rich guys that just have tons of money and what you can do. And I try to break down my ranking list about how I would recommend them to people. It doesn't make sense for some people to want to buy IEMs of a certain cost. Then you also have like your crazy rabid fans. Those are people that really like a brand, and it's kind of trying to say, you know, this is your favorite company, your favorite brand. Would I recommend that? I'm trying to work on driver configuration as well. And that's pretty much my ranking list. Now, I do want to note that I do have a headphone ranking list. I did start this up pretty recently. You guys can take a look at that as well. Other people do have IEM ranking lists as well, and I think it's a great way to communicate your thoughts and feelings to people and let you know what people recommend. And when I do get new stuff in, I usually try to update my ranking list and then kind of go from there. And I do try to listen to you guys about what you guys think is good, and I do try to borrow a lot of sets from people. I do get a few samples that are sent to me, and I do have a few samples incoming, and I have quite a few IEMs on my desk that I'm currently working on reviews for. So to me, the hobby is kind of a funny thing, but knowing what category you fall in. Are you a new person who doesn't want to spend much? Or are you a person who has a little bit of money to spend for maybe one set a year? Or are you someone who wants to collect? Whether these sets are right for you and what you should do. So that's kind of my goal of my ranking list, is to try to clearly communicate my advice to you guys and try to communicate and try to, be a part of the community. Look, the IEM hobby is hard to navigate. If anyone would like, you can come join my Discord server. We regularly talk on it. I check it pretty much every day to try to talk to my few friends and fans over there. Feel free to reach out. The link is in the description below. We'd love to have you. If you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to join and come talk to us there. Audio is about having friends, about talking to people, about communicating to people, and I think that's a really important thing for everyone to remember, that this is a community, not just a race to have the best gear. We all have our preferences. We all have our things that we like. And this is what this hobby's all about. I appreciate you guys watching to the end. If you guys have any questions or any comments, leave them in the comments below. If there's any of the IEMs that you've seen here or that are on my ranking list that you would like to see me talk about, let me know.
You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?